I would like to get, mint in box, an electronic Juoken, an electronic Falcon Summoner, a Gao Hunter Blue Moon, a Gao Kong, which is the red-colored repaint of this from the GaoRanger movie Fire Mountain Howls, and that's it. Fire Mountain Howls was a theatrical film that was released in 2001, but the events that take place in Fire Mountain Howls have no impact on the series, and can be dismissed very easily. Even though it is a theatrical film, Fire Mountain Howls is no longer than an average episode of the TV series, which is just 30 minutes. So to make it worth theaters' time and effort, Fire Mountain Howls was a double bill with the Kamen Rider Agito movie. Anyways, in Fire Mountain Howls, the 6 GaoRanger and Tetemu are pulled through a tear in the space-time continuum, which kind of pops up out of nowhere. I don't know why, it just happens. And they all land on a tropical island that's under siege from the 3 Org brothers, Zeus Org, Poseidon Org, and Hades Org. The 3 Org brothers have enslaved the human population of the island and are forcing them to work in the ruby mines. Cutting the whole 30-minute video down to a 2-minute explanation, the GaoRanger break into the castle where the mines are, free most of the natives that were working in the mines, including Princess Iria, and thus gain the wrath of the 3 Org brothers. The battle moves outside and the natives cheer on the GaoRanger as they do battle. However, the native islanders have a legend that says when 3 rings appear in the sky, a red creature will arrive to free the island from danger. Of course, as we all know in Super Sentai, once a baddie is destroyed at human size, that doesn't always mean that he's destroyed for good. So while the Org brothers grow themselves to giant size, unfortunately because of their displacement from the Animalium, the GaoRanger can't summon the power animals. However, the legend becomes reality when the 3 moons in the sky eclipse the 3 suns to create the 3 rings, which actually makes for a pretty nice visual effect, by the way. And Princess Iria's ruby necklace transforms into a Gao jewel, which she gives to Gao Red, and allows him to summon the mighty Gao Kong. And what a badass he is! Not only does he live inside of a volcano which has suddenly become active, in which case he can move both in and on liquid hot magma, but he can also twirl about a palm tree in each hand as it's flaming like some kind of Hawaiian dancer, and then throw them at orgs like boomerangs. This particular attack isn't called anything, but it's actually pretty awesome. The level of detail on Gao Kong is pretty impressive, especially when it comes to things like his face, and more appropriately the torso, which is pretty nice. Very chunky upper torso. Vacuum metallized plastic on the back, which is always awesome, of course, and die-cast metal framework, which is used for the Gattai later on. His arms have some nice detailing on them as well. Not great compared to the rest, but I mean, hey, at least it's just some random panel lining, so The hands can open and close a little bit. The hands can open and close, which is nice. I mean, hello. Hands opening and closing on a Super Sentai toy, that's rare. But the posability on Gao Kong is just amazing. You've got shoulder articulation outwards, or no, actually it would be articulation up and down. And then you twist at the shoulder, which is always nice. The only thing you have to worry about, though, is the connection point here will tap into the torso. So you actually are limited in how far that can go inwards. But, you know, in addition to opening hands, which is nice, which don't grip anything, by the way, he's got elbows, which actually snap into that position. So you can get a crap load of posing just in the arms. I'm not even talking about the legs. Okay, now we'll talk about the legs. The legs ratchet every few degrees, which is nice. Not very much. It's a total of 90 degrees, but hey, that's not bad. His knees are already bent. However, what makes it really impressive is this. And listen to that. Listen. He has ratcheting ankle joints. You know how rare that is? That is very, very, very rare. That is very, very awesome. And for whatever reason, the front of his feet are both die-cast metal and hinged. I don't know how hinging them helps in any way, but it's still kind of nice to have. So, yeah, you can get this guy into a lot of different poses. It's just amazing what you can do. And even though he's back heavy with the framework back here, and you know, just because he's got quite a bit of backpack hanging behind his hips, you can get these ankles into so many different positions and reset the arms in so many different ways. This becomes one of the most posable toys in Super Sentai ever, even afterwards. So you can understand why I'm full of such praise just for this guy alone. Actually, not just this guy alone, because, in case you haven't already noticed, Gao Kong is in fact a repaint of Power Animal number 4, Gao Gorilla. Now, the interesting thing about Gao Kong is that he is the first in Super Sentai, well, the first toy in Super Sentai to be marketed as a movie exclusive. Even though it's just a repaint, it never appeared in the TV series at any point. So Gao Kong is in fact the first movie exclusive Super Sentai figure ever made. And it's a simple enough difference between Gao Gorilla and Gao Kong. You just swap the green for red, you swap the red eyes for green eyes, and that's it. All other paint applications are exactly the same, including the red painted areas on their chests. So that's mildly interesting, but otherwise all materials are the same, all moldings are the same. It's just a repaint, folks, that's all. So Ava, let me see if I got this straight. They called him Gao Kong? Why isn't he like black or gray or something like that? Well, it's funny you should bring that up, because so far as I'm aware, Hyakujuu Sentai GaoRanger is responsible for the most number of DX-sized repaints in all of Super Sentai. The 25th anniversary Super Sentai series, you would not expect them to do anything less. Or would you? I don't know. Actually, in an odd sort of way, the numerous amount of repaints actually was a drawback to the series, but I won't get into that here. You know what I love about this book? Two things. One, it gives me extra detailed pictures of all the Super Sentai Mecha from 79 to 2007, at least the toy versions. You know, in full color, big pictures, detailed pictures, which is awesome. It's even got a little, you know, the artwork sitting down there, which is also nice. But it also has these segments called Intermission, which show you the exclusives and the specials and things like that, which is nice, you know. So it's got the detailed pictures and blah blah blah. Anyways, Intermission 3 deals with the black repaints. You can see the black Gao King right there, which was, I think that was a Toys R Us exclusive. I can't remember. You've got Gao Hunter Blue Moon down here, which I do want still. You've got the black Gao Elephant, which came in the DX Gao Knight Special Edition Toys R Us exclusive. And then you've got these two. This is Gao Panda, which was in an audio drama CD. It never appeared in the show, never appeared in any of the movies. I think it doesn't even do a Gattai. It just kind of shows up, saves the GaoRanger, and then it walks away back into the forest or something like that. I mean, that's really all it does. But anyways, the point of my bringing up this wonderful, wonderful mook is, you know, we all know King Kong was black with silver and gray. Well, here's your black and silver repaint. This is actually Gao Ape, which is another special edition repaint of Gao Gorilla. And really all it is, I mean, it just swaps, again, all the green for dark gray. And then it has, I think it has red eyes and a red chest thing again. I don't know why they're fixated on the red for the chest. But anyways, yeah, the reason this was called Gao Ape and this was called Gao Kong, I'm not sure. What else could they have called it? I'm not sure. But he lives on an island with a volcano. So I guess this guy has to be Gao Kong. But my point is that there's actually 3 versions of this guy. I didn't get many of the Power Animals MISB, And I don't have a DX Juoken, which I can stick these into. But with Gao Kong, I was able to obtain his little icon figure, which sticks into his Gao Jewel, which fits inside the Juoken. Very rare for me to have one of these. Mouth open, head back, bang in his chest. That's just great. I love that. Like I said, I don't have a Juoken. I still don't have a Juoken. I got close to getting one a couple months ago, but somehow the deal fell through because the guy didn't email me back about the price. So, yeah, I don't have one to show you right now, but I wanted to show this to you anyways, because how often do people hang on to these? Rawr. You want to know what the second best part for me is about owning a toy that comes directly from Japan rather than getting something that was released in the US? Getting it MISB. Anyways. Oh, and it also came with another muscle anchor from the DX Gao Gorilla, even though it never uses it in the movie. But anyways, there it is. Now, what would be the point of introducing a brand new power animal if you weren't going to try and use it in some fashion in a Hyakujuu Gattai? I mean, Gao Lion wasn't injured in any fashion. They just chose to go with Gao Kong for some reason in the movie. But you know what? That doesn't bother me too much. For the purposes of this particular transformation, Gao Shark, Gao Bison, and Gao Tiger all transform as if you were making Gao King. However, Gao Eagle is to be put into its Gao Muscle configuration, and will also be including Gao Elephant. Gao Kong's transformation process is identical to that of Gao Gorilla. This one's a little harder to pull that panel out because it's mint in sealed box. This is also a little tighter, which is nice. That's set up. Now let's put it all together. If you have the muscle anchor placed in the torso, make sure you keep track of it as you're opening up these doors. Almost there. I can't do this one-handed. Close enough. And there you have, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on to it. Don't drop it. Don't drop it. Don't break apart. The Hyakujuu Gattai Gao Knight. You'll forgive me if I don't have Gao Elephant attached at this time, but unfortunately the elbows weren't able to hold the weight of it, so... Gao Knight actually is shown without the sword and shield option attached to it, so just for a little bit. Gao Knight actually gets his ass kicked a little bit in the movie, which is kind of disappointing considering it's supposed to be the new mecha that's supposed to be really awesome. Anyways, the only difference, even though Gao Kong is a repaint of Gao Gorilla, there is one minor difference, and that is the head, or rather the face. The head sculpt of Gao Knight is different only in that it has this new face shield on it. That's the only difference between them. Otherwise, the paint applications, the molds are all the same. So they just, took the face of Gao Muscle off and stuck Gao Knight's visor on them, which actually has some nice detailing on the front there. So that's not too bad, and really that's it. Now the standard configuration, of course, has Gao Elephant attached, but like I said, the elbows aren't quite able to hold it up. So that is Gao Knight. So tell me, Ava, what is the difference between the DX Gao Kong and the Red Gorilla from Power Rangers Wild Force? Well, actually, there were a couple of changes they made. The first, and perhaps most noticeable one, is that the die-cast metal frame and the feet were replaced with ABS plastic, light gray ABS plastic. So, boo! They were so good about that with all the other power animals, Wild Zords. But unfortunately, the Red Gorilla lost out on that. By the way, I call it Red Gorilla but it's actually just called Gorilla Wildzord on the box. So the other big difference is the vacuum metallized plastic was removed. Boo! They did so well with that too. Not all of it, but there were a couple of times where they kept it. Not always, but a couple of times. So they removed it. Boo! And they actually made a couple of paint modifications as well. Kind of small ones, really. Even though it receives black paint on the legs, this top section here was left the plain red plastic. I don't think there were any other modifications. The face was left intact. That was left intact. The chest was left intact. So there were noticeable changes, but they're somewhat small in the grand scheme of things. It really just made it cheaper and easier to work with. Of course, as we all know, Bandai America never released any of the Wildzords individually. They were always in a box set with a minimum 3 components together. So while the Red Gorilla did indeed come to the US, there were a few changes. The set that it came in was different from Gao Knight. Well, first off, the set was known as the Deluxe Ultimus Megazord, and it did not come with the Elephant Wildzord. That never happened. American audiences, as I said in an earlier video, never got the Gao Elephant. It also did not come with a White Tiger Wildzord. And it also came with the motorized version of the Black Bison that was included with the Kongazord, except that the lower legs, all the black plastic here, was changed to purple. So it became the purple motorized Bison. Take it as you will. And it also did not come with a Yellow Eagle Zord, because you already had one from the Deluxe Wild Force Megazord, and you got a bonus one with the Deluxe Kongazord. So that you would have had 3 of these floating around if it had been included in the Ultimus Megazord, but it wasn't. So the Deluxe Ultimus Megazord was indeed a complete Megazord. It actually could do a full-size version. However, they made some significant changes, aside from removing the Yellow Eagle, White Tiger, and Elephant. The first change that they made was actually good for Power Ranger fans, because it gave us this. This is what is known as the Armadillo Puck. The Armadillo Puck, which was unnamed in Japan, is actually the waist adapter unit that was included with Gao Armadillo and Gao Rhino. This would allow those 2 power animals to connect to the Gao Muscle set. However, with the Deluxe Isis Megazord and the Deluxe Kongazord did not come with this accessory. So, Bandai America, fortunately, was considerate enough to give us the Armadillo Puck. Let's see, I haven't done this for a while. Let's see, stick this in there? Is that it? Yeah, okay. Open it up. So, we got the Armadillo Puck. I think Armadillo Puck was one of the parts of the Jungle Blaster, which the Rangers used. Yeah, so there was that. And then the other change they made was they included a Deluxe Soulbird, which I do not have, which I will never have. Soulbird is ugly. Soulbird is not cute. Soulbird is out of scale. Soulbird is a stupid name. I am not covering Soulbird. Which actually was the fully interactive Japanese version that they had. Was, it was only about this big. And you could pop open the top and the Canon spinning thingy was on the inside. And you could actually fold the doors down on the side. Except that they neglected to give you any Ranger figures which could actually fit inside. Thanks for that, Bandai America. We appreciate it. So, while the Gao Knight configuration did show up on American shelves, it was heavily modified. Although for American audiences, I suppose having the Hockey Puck, Armadillo Puck adapter in there was a good thing to have. Actually, it's kind of ironic. The Deluxe Ultimus Megazord is actually one of the very few 4-part combinations that can be made using a Megazord, because the waist component is not used, and Gao Elephant wasn't included. 2 arms, torso, and legs. So basically the only reason you get the Gao Kong set is so that you can make Gao Knight. Unless you're getting the Gao Kong just as a standalone because you really, really like the posability and the color changes that they made and the fact that it's a repaint. Which I do all of the above, of course. but I must admit that Gao Knight isn't exactly one of my favorite combinations in GaoRanger. And there's two big reasons why that is. And the most obvious one is that I really don't like the Gao elephant design, either when it's standing by itself or as part of a sword and shield combination. By the way, this is not called Gao Knight Sword and Shield. It is called Gao Knight. There is no descriptive mode title at the end of it. It is strictly Gao Knight. Even with the elephant removed, it is called Gao Knight. So, mostly, I don't like Gao Knight because of Gao Elephant. It's just difficult to work with, and it doesn't look all that great. It looks kind of sort of cool in the movie, the way he's twirling that sword all about. But from the toy perspective, it's... I don't like it that much. And the other reason I don't like it is the selection of arms that were used, which really are there only because of the sword and the shield. I mean, a medieval knight has to have a sword and a shield, right? Well, thus, you have to have Gao Tiger and Gao Shark. But really, when you put Gao Tiger and Gao Shark and match it up with Gao Kong, it doesn't look as awesome as Gao Muscle does, in my opinion. Aha! But now we come to it. This right here is where things start getting complicated. I suddenly realized that for every smart person on YouTube, there are 5 idiots standing in line right behind him. Hence this awkward reshoot. If this is Gao Knight, then what is this? Well, according to the naming conventions, this would be Gao Knight Double Knuckle, which actually appeared on the box, but did not appear in the movie. Gao Knight Double Knuckle. Just a quick thing here before I go on. The reason I don't like Gao Knight is because if it had been Gao Muscle in that battle in Fire Mountain Howls, he would never have been caught off guard, and he would have been able to literally beat his way out of the fight that the 3 Org brothers had set up for him. Like, Gao Knight was caught from behind and had to just kind of stand there and was kind of helpless without the sword and shield. You see, with Gao Muscle, all his weapons are built internally. He wouldn't have had that problem. On the other hand, Gao Muscle was heavy and perhaps even slow. I mean, Gao Knight took out Poseidon Org with 1 hit. And it was blindingly fast hit, too. So there probably was an advantage to using Gao Knight versus Gao Muscle. And also because only 5 power animals answered Gao Kong's call. But that's just my opinion of the situation. Anyways, at this point, I am no longer talking about Canon appearances, stuff that appeared on screen, or stuff that was officially released. I am now talking hypotheticals. I am now talking pre-production. This is actually something that I addressed in an article that I did at the end of my reviews of the Power Animals on CollectionDX.com. The article was called Hyakujuu Gattai, the Power Animals Assembled. So go to my profile and look it up, and you're going to see a lot more there than I am going to describe in this video, because it would take forever. Because it would take another half hour, 45 minutes to describe everything in that article in a video. And just a quick aside, people have been wondering why it is I haven't been doing the alternate combinations from GaoRanger, like Gao King's Spear and Shield, Gao Muscle Striker Crosshorn, Gao Icarus Another Arm and Foot. People have been wondering why it is I haven't done a video for that. The honest answer is I don't think I could justify doing a video review. It would be me just putting components onto a robot and then showing it off for about 3 seconds and then moving on to the next one. To me, that doesn't sound like a very engaging video, and I don't think it would work. So if you guys insist that I do it, I can do it, but I don't think it would be very interesting, even coming from a guy like me. It would actually probably run about 5 minutes, which, knowing how you guys are, you wouldn't like that very much. So that's the reason why I haven't done that alternate video. I had actually planned to do it after I'd done reviewing Gao Icarus on video, but I put it off mostly because I don't know where to go with it. I know it can be done, I just haven't done it. So I can if you want me to, but I'm not inclined to do so at this point. Just Go look at the article on CollectionDX, Hyakujuu Gattai, The Power Animals Assembled. It's a nice, long, reading article with a lot of good pictures in there. Go look that up. You know what, I've probably just spent the same amount of time explaining all of that I could have actually doing it. Obviously, the limb swapping capabilities which debuted in Hyakujuu Sentai GaoRanger with the Power Animal Mecha was breakthrough at the time, and allowed for innumerable number of combinations. You could take this arm and stick it over on this mecha. You could mix and match legs and arms to your heart's content and still probably not come up with all of them. And of course, there were many meetings before the series even began about which combinations were going to be seen. Not just the basic robos, but the different configurations of each robot. Now, the toys can accomplish anything, so long as you follow the rules of what goes where. But what appears in the show was actually very, very limited. I mean, they just scratched the surface. 25 animals, 6 basic robos, and probably a handful of alternate configurations just for Gao King. Now, here's an interesting little trivial bit. One of those, shall I say, lost combinations actually did have official photographs taken of it, even though it never appeared in the show, any of the movies, the radio dramas, any print anywhere else. I think it actually showed up in just one magazine in 2001, and that's the only time this configuration was ever seen. And like I said, it's not a special, unique, one-time only. We have no idea. All we know is that it was one possibility which was given serious consideration, and that is something that is known as, the combination known as Gao Cracker. Or, considering the naming system that we currently use for the series, it could be called Gao Muscle, Shark, and Tiger. Gao Cracker is just the name that I will be using. But as you can see in these two photographs, Gao Cracker was given serious consideration before production began. Made it to filming stage. It's just that it never appeared in the series. And just like Gao Knight here, the only thing that changes between Gao Cracker and Gao King is the torso configuration. That's the only thing that changes. If everybody remembers in the debut of Gao Muscle, Gao Lion was disabled, but the other power animals were just fine. And right at that time, Gao Gorilla was available, so this could easily have happened in place of the debut of Gao Muscle. They just chose to use Gao Bear and Gao Polar and make the first appearance of Gao Muscle. That's why some people alternately call this Gao Muscle, Shark, and Tigers, because it has those two arms on it. Thus you could have Gao Icarus, Cracker, or alternately Gao Icarus, Shark, and Tiger. You could have Gao Hunter, Shark, and Tiger, or Gao Hunter, Cracker. There's a number of different ways you could name it. I mean, there's no way of knowing if these two arms are somehow connected with each other in a similar fashion to Gao Polar and Gao Bear. But without dragging this on much longer, and my point of even bringing Gao Cracker up, is that the similarity between Gao Cracker and Gao Knight is pretty obvious, even to the point of Gao Cracker using the sword, as you saw in that photograph. Oh, I hate the way this thing grips. It doesn't grip. It's pathetic. Also, mine's cracked because it's secondhand, but anyways. Yeah, it's entirely possible this pre-production design eventually became Gao Knight. So there's a little bit of trivia you can PM to your friends at the end of the day. Oh, something else I need to mention. The Gao Knight configuration was actually sold as a Toys R Us exclusive in Japan, which had everything that you see here, which means you got multiples of this, multiples of this, multiples of this. Actually you got 3 sets of these guys, I think, because you got them with Gao King and Gao Muscle, and then you get them with Gao Knight. And if I'm not much mistaken, that combination came with the Black Edition Gao Elephant. I've seen it 2 different ways. I've seen it with this, and then I've also seen it with the black one, so I'm not 100% certain on how that was set up, but I do know it did happen. And lastly, before I close this video out, I'd like to give a shout out and special thank you out to TK Macintosh, who generously found and